Hi everyone and welcome to Founder Stories. At Founder Stories, we are ending 2017 on a high note with our first panel discussion, and we're going to take up 3 issues that we really care about with the founders of Brave Initiatives. Brave Initiatives is on a mission to empower high school girls to be agents of change in the world through design, leadership, and coding. Their program integrates social impact projects, design thinking strategy, and web development through coding. They believe that there is a greater purpose to technology. So without any further ado, I'm going to welcome the founders of Brave Initiatives. We're sitting with the founders of Brave Initiatives, Jen Kamins, Emily Harburg, and Anna Bethune. So welcome and thank you for doing this. Before we introduce today's format, I just want to ask you, how did Brave Initiatives happen? Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and how did the 3 of you come together to found this?
Yeah. So I actually graduated college, and after I graduated college, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I ended up taking a job in HR at a pharmaceutical company, and I was a recruiter there, and I was recruiting engineers, and after recruiting there for just over 2 years, I moved downtown to Chicago, and was recruiting for some other tech companies, and continuously hiring for software jobs and mechanical jobs. And in that process, just became really overwhelmed and frustrated with the lack of women in the pipeline. And so when we'd hire women, we'd be taking them from other companies and just kind of moving the problem around instead of raising up more women in our local communities to take the jobs that we were filling. And so I was really frustrated with that. I was volunteering for this after school program and was talking to Emily. Actually, we had met at church and we were talking about this mutual frustration because of our similar experiences, and we just kind of started lighting each other's fires about this, and just kind of grew passionate about it together through sharing experiences and just like seeing different struggles in our own communities of like what this women in tech and the gender gap and all that stuff look like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so my background was that I in undergrad studied psychology actually, and I had shied away from any type of computer science class originally because I thought that isn't for me, or that's, I saw that there were jobs going up in it, but I just thought it might get a bad grade, which would then mean that maybe I couldn't get a good job afterwards, and so that held me back from really taking those classes, and I wish now in retrospect, wish that I had at that time, but it's really inspired me to then kind of want to do this more now. So afterwards I worked at Disney in the research team for a few years and realized how much technology interested me, and realized also the connection that it had to psychology and to anthropology, the things that I was interested in behaviorally. So decided to go back then for my PhD, and I'm studying computer science now, and my funding was actually around how do we build women's self-efficacy in computer science. And so then, as Jen said, we had these discussions, and Anna and I were in the same lab and working on kind of thinking about how can we get girls inspired to really make an impact in their community. And so this kind of idea of really going out there and putting the research into practice was formed.
Wow. Yeah, and my background is actually in economics, and so I studied that in undergrad. I worked as a startup in Silicon Valley for a year doing some business development, and then I moved back home to Jamaica to work as an economics researcher. And there I became a lot more passionate about education because I was really driven by this question about how do we make Jamaica a developed country in the next 50 years. And so I decided to switch over from economics to education and study it and do it at the doctoral level. And that's when I met Emily, and since I've been in Chicago, I've been studying civic engagement and civic technology and focusing on young women's political socialization and social mobilization. And through that, I've been looking at like how social impact and technology can be used to make a greater impact in the community, and that's how Emily and I became really passionate about the same thing. And then we were introduced, or I was introduced to Jen, and then Brave was born.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the purpose of today's panel is to deep dive, and our discussion with Brave Initiatives is to deep dive into 3 issues that we really care about, and that's young women in technology, community impact, and empathy. I'm going to start with asking you guys a little bit about young women in technology. So why is it coding is supposed to be the fundamental building block of technology, and why is it so important for young women to be in technology and even more so in coding. So we've seen social media and e-commerce and all, getting a lot of traction these days. But from a Silicon Valley perspective, why do you think young women should learn coding?
Yeah, so we really believe that, as everyone knows, technology is changing the world right now, and everything is moving to tech. And so we believe strongly that having women in those roles and helping to build that will help women also be able to shape the future, and not just a certain select group of people. And so part of our goal is how can we get women to that table where they actually have the skills and the competencies to be able to say, I can build that, or I have an image of the way that this could be, and in a way that also women will be interested in, or women of color will also be able to really use this product. So I think often products are designed in a way we're biased by who we are and the viewpoint that we have. And so by having a diverse workforce working and solving problems in coding, we have the potential to really create products that serve a wider group of people and also take into account different perspectives. And so, yeah, so part of our goal is, can we really get girls to that table and really believing that that's a space that they can fill, and then bring their unique interests to it. So we always tell the girls at camps, we need people building Snapchat who care about bullying. We need people that are creating Facebook who are passionate about animal rights, and kind of thinking about just kind of these different mindsets coming together and coming to the table with coding. And the other thing that I'll say is that, as we know, there's quite a small percentage of women and women of color in these coding roles, and so part of it is also, can we bring women to these camps that really represent those backgrounds to help them have role models and see that that's a career path that they could take.
Absolutely. So you think coding is really that building block for anything that comes after that, right? So like you said, people who build Snapchat, the engineers who are building Snapchat, if they understand what bullying is and are growing up like that, they can actually integrate it into the platform itself, like from just a perspective of actually building that platform, right? Yeah. Okay, so very important question. What's your famous technology hashtag? So what is that hashtag? I love Instagram, so what hashtag that you guys use?
So the hashtag we use the most is #BeBrave. We use Rosie Rosie the Riveter and as one of our icons, and so we have the muscle arm right beside it, and it's #BeBrave.
#BeBrave. Okay. Onto the the perspective part of it. What perspectives do you think that a woman or a young woman in technology can bring to the design of the product that's being built?
Yes, so I think that as Emily was saying, we are all affected by the biases that we bring into everything that we do, right? And that's just colored by our experiences. In the design of the technology, we also want to think about some of the communities that we aren't serving, right? So if you're thinking about the technologies that are built in Silicon Valley, it's through a very specific lens. And so if you're thinking about the design of the service, right, which also encompasses the design of the product, you're thinking about all the different touch points, right? You're thinking about what it means to walk home late at night as a young woman and you feel unsafe. What kinds of technologies, what kind of exposure would you need to feel more protected at that point in time? And if you're also thinking about the entire design process, right, you're also thinking about the kinds of persons that you're including in your research. So at Brave, we have our young girls do interviews with experts in the field to get a perspective different from their own, so they can kind of bounce their ideas off of people and find the common ground, so that whatever they're building isn't just for someone like them, it can actually work for persons from different perspectives experiencing the same problem.
So I read something that Kate, who's 17 years old, wrote on your website, which said that bravery means having fear, but not letting that fear dictate your actions. So I thought that was very powerful for a young woman. And what skills, it made me think, what skills does a Brave program help develop? And could you just take us through the program from maybe a young woman's perspective, or from anyone's perspective who's taking this program?
Sure. So yeah, the camp is comprised, so we run week-long camps and also workshops throughout the year. And so each camp has a specific set of goals, and then the workshops we're teaching all kinds of different coding skills or design skills or skills that are really around kind of thinking about being a leader in your community. And so And the goals of the camp that we really look at are around how do we help girls change their story of self in coding, and really thinking about building their self-efficacy and confidence to come away from the camp feeling like coding is something that I can do and something that I'm capable of. So we look at specifically helping them build, in the first camp, just basic skills in HTML and CSS and some JavaScript to help them come away with a sense of what coding means and what coding is. But then we also teach them skills in design and design thinking and human-centered design, which Anna helps to lead, and really helping them think about, how do I solve a problem in my community, and then what's the role that technology can play in doing that. And then we also help them think about public speaking and helping them build skills in coming up with an idea, working in a team, really how do you put an idea into practice and work with others to help see that come to life. And so then by the end of the camp, we're really looking at what is the change that they've made during that week, what are the skills that they've built, but also then after that camp, how do they really go out and implement that idea in their communities.
It's very holistic that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can somebody who's watching this be a part of Brave Initiatives?
Yeah, so there's actually quite a few ways for people to get involved. First and foremost, we always have volunteers coming in. Our program is very volunteer heavy, so we try to get the community as involved as possible. And that can look like a couple different things. Coding is obviously, if you're a coder, we have a lot of coders who will come in and who will help out with the camps, but we also have people who want to help with the leadership development who can come in and help the girls write their pitches and their speeches. Other women in technology, we have these community dinners where we have the girls go out to dinner with women who are in tech and who have gone through that journey, just to say like, hey, what does your journey look like? What does it look like for you to overcome fear in these things? And then other ways that we're looking for people to help out right now is we're trying to expand our program outside of Chicago. So as we look at that model, we're trying to look at what does it take to do this well and efficiently and maintain consistency so that every girl who goes through Brave Camp, no matter where they're at, is still getting the same skill sets and is still getting the same experience as maybe somebody here in Chicago. So we are building an online platform right now and kind of a tool that every girl would be able to have access to, and that is just currently going to take a lot of funding to build that out. And so we're in the process of raising $30,000 specifically for that platform, and so we're looking for companies to sponsor that. We're looking for individuals who want to get involved or personally invest their finances, and also anything else that people would like to contribute to building and developing that platform in this time is kind of where we're at.
Wow. So if any one of you watching this think that you can help in any way, where is it that they can write to you?
Yeah, so if you check out our website at www.braveinitiatives.com.
Yeah, we'll get the link.
I know, right?
Well, yeah.
Sounds like an infomercial.
Yeah.
But if you go to our website and then you just click support, a online giving page will come up, and we are a nonprofit organization, so everything is tax deductible.
Right.
And so that's where we're kind of shooting for support right now. And there's a memo line in there where you can put if you are interested in it going specifically towards this project, that's possible as well.
That's great. I hope we can help.
Yeah. Me too.